Welcome, congratulations, you're all going to be playtesters today for my new game that's actually a presentation. So, thank you for coming in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm JD. I'm a senior software engineer at HeroDevs, focused on Drupal. I'm a member of the CWG CRT. I've been doing Drupal over 10 years. I used to be a paramedic. Been doing coding since the 80s. And you can find me on Twitch at Twitch TV/JD Does Dev. I'm not seeing anybody picking up their phones and following yet. So HeroDevs, a little bit about us. We do security for open source that's been end of life. And not just Drupal, all kinds of JavaScript stuff. Java, Spring, we're getting into a lot of things. But now we're working on Drupal with it being end of life very early next year. So if you want to learn more about it, come see us at the booth and try to win an Optimus Prime Lego set. And then give it to me. All right, so what is this all about today? Well, we're talking about me talking to myself, and by that I mean talking while live streaming. Does anybody in here stream or watch streamers?
All right, before this.
So when you're just getting started off, you don't have a lot of people to talk to if you're not already well known. So I do a lot of talking to myself. I've been doing it for about a year now. Well, now getting closer to 2 years, I think. I don't know. Still growing. And when I say live streaming, I don't mean, hey, watch me play this game while I do loud reactions or pretend to be scared by jump scares that I've played 1,000 times, or me sitting in a hot tub. You're welcome for that. I mean doing development while streaming, and there is a very, very rich community of people doing development while streaming. We actually have our own category on Twitch now. Before it was just all wrapped into business. Now we have software and game dev. So what do I mean? I mean streaming on Twitch, YouTube, other services, while doing learning, teaching, or talking about development. I do a lot of teaching, but I do a lot more learning because there are a lot of people smarter than me. But why? Why do people do this, and why do people watch? Well, for those of you who watch streamers, why do you watch them?
Pick up something interesting.
Something interesting.
They're fun. I'm on the toilet.
What?
It's free live music.
Free live music, and Hayden, just for the recording, Hayden said because he's on the toilet. So I did my own research, and by research I mean I came up with a list of why I do it. So let's count down the reasons, if I can find where I took that button. There it is. All right, so it helps with real-time problem solving, helps with building a community, helps knowledge sharing both ways, not just, hey, look at me, I know all the things. It's like, hey, anybody out there want to give me a hand? Accountability, productivity, networking, kind of goes with community building, instant feedback and problem solving, and good old-fashioned narcissism.
Yeah.
So I asked my audience and other people in streams that I hang out with why they watch, and a couple reasons. Body doubling. Anybody not familiar with that?
No.
So it's having somebody to look at and ignore is the way I look at it. It's just having somebody else, if they're in the same room with you or on the screen next to you, just seeing that they're working kind of gives you the energy to work for yourself. And there are a lot of like co-working streams in a co-working space where it's just them with the camera on them and they're no sound coming from them. They're just working, and it helps motivate. A lot of people do it to support people they know and like. I mean, most of the people that I watch or that hang out with me are people that I want to support, that I've met through streaming. Knowledge sharing, there are some really smart people out there doing a lot of really awesome things, and they like to talk about it. As do I. And I like helping out people. It's amazing how many questions I get about stuff that I don't know, but having the opportunity to, hey, we're going to figure this out together, and in real time, like, okay, I don't know how to do this, but let's do it. to get help, and networking. I know I mentioned that before, but community is really, really important. I had little jump noises, but I thought it would get really annoying with as much as I make it jump around. All right, so we're on to level 2. Let's talk about me talking about what I'm doing to nobody but me. Without getting stuck there. All right. So, surprise, talking through what I thought, or what I was doing, made me slow down and better understand the problem. It forced me to clarify the problem, helped me organize my thoughts, helped me slow down and analyze. It forced me to, actually, and that helped me with the problem solving a lot. These are the 4 big reasons. And you know, don't necessarily have to do this on the stream. Some people have rubber ducks that they talk to. Some people have cardboard cutouts of Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2 for some reason. I don't. But if you do, that's cool. So when I'm streaming, I try to talk out the problem in a way that non-tech people can understand. I find that's the best way that I can explain it. If somebody who knows nothing about what I'm doing understands what I'm trying to do, then I define the problem. Sometimes I draw things out. Has anybody used Excalidraw or Obsidian or a combination of the two?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Obsidian. It's a great kind of mind mapping, take notes, connects everything. Has an Excalidraw plugin where you can draw just what your thoughts are, diagram it out. It's great for just jotting stuff down. Sometimes it's just talking through my thought process. I need to fix this block. There's something right there. I keep forgetting about that. And so by diagramming out what I'm trying to do, or by listing out the current task, it organizes the thoughts. And if anybody has questions while I'm doing this, feel free to interrupt. And if anybody in the back can't hear me, feel free to yell or come closer.
I found that, let's talk to a therapist about it, that actually saying things out loud kicks in a different part of your brain. You hear yourself and therefore you process it with a whole new chunk of brain. That's wonderfully helpful.
And this same thing, what you just mentioned there, how many of you think faster than you can type or forget what you were going to do before you have a chance to do it? I know you do. Yeah, for probably everybody in this room. By talking it through, actually taking the time to verbalize, you have a better chance to actually figure out what the hell you're doing. Just like you said, it's a different part of the brain. If you're just thinking, I'm thinking about something, but I already forgot what it was. But if I take the time, all right, I'm gonna get up here, I'm gonna say some words, I'm gonna pretend that there's some bloops when I jump, and then we're gonna fix this, and I'm gonna go to the next slide. Really helps to slow down. And by these things combined, all the problem solving is improved. That's it. You win the day. All right. So let's not talk about me for a second, but don't worry. You'll get back to me soon enough. I know you're all concerned. Another huge part of streaming is building a community. Not just developers, but people who want to learn about development, and even people who just want to support you because they like you. So, one question for all of you right now. Why are you all here today? Not just in this session. I mean, obviously you got lost. There are 2 smarter people in the other rooms. But why are you here today? Community. Learning, sharing knowledge. I like everybody that I know in this room. I like you. Everybody I don't know yet, I'm sure I like you. But it's great. The community is why I got into Drupal in the first place. Well, no, Paycheck's why I got into Drupal in the first place. But community is why I stayed at Drupal. Attending my first mid-camp and then TC Drupal, and then it's been downhill from there. I started off streaming with 0 community, and I have more than doubled that.
I did that with revenue.
And so, get a little bit real. In October of last year, I was laid off. Then in April of this year, I was fired. And then in the summer of this year, I was in a potential depressive spiral. I lost my job, didn't have anything lined up, didn't have any severance because I was fired, and the place I worked for was ran by jackasses. But I'm not naming names. And I could have gone down a very, very dark path. I could have ended up, with empty bottles next to me, curled up on the floor, crying. I had the choice. I could either sink into depression, have no motivation, end up completely broke, homeless, hopeless, or I could use my newly found free time to learn new things. Especially now that I've been streaming for a little bit and I had a bit of a community and people who wanted to help support me. So it was great. I went from streaming occasionally. I treated it like a full-time job. It didn't pay like a full-time job, but it did give me something to do, something to focus on, something to direct my energy at other than how am I going to afford a bottle of whiskey. No, I spend a lot of time streaming, send out resumes day in, day out, and then get in and try to learn something. Learning new things. How many of you have said, oh, I'm interested in this thing, I want to learn it, but then never go back? This was really cool, yeah. Used to do that a lot. I'd always say, interested, I want to learn it, I can't wait to sit down, and then when I get to my computer, I'm just, Rocket League is calling. Overwatch is calling. Oh, there's a new DLC for Satisfactory. I can't wait to try it out. But when I stream, there's accountability. And I have a reason to learn new things because, in front of people are going to hold you accountable. So what have I learned in the year and a half? I'm not an expert in any of this, but I've dipped my toes into quite a bit. Godot, game engine that I'm using right now, that probably the thing that I've spent the most time learning. I've made a lot of interesting things with Godot, and I like to make things that aren't supposed to be made with whatever. So I have some interesting plans in the future for that. Node, for some stream interactions, and because web dev, gotta know Node. TypeScript for building a chatbot. Unity because I like to suffer. Same thing with C#. And some Python because Python, I guess. I learned the ins and outs of OBS. Does anybody not know what OBS is? It's Open Broadcast Software, or Open Broadcast Studio. It's a free open source application that it's kind of the gold standard for recording video, broadcasting to Twitch, YouTube, setting up, if you want to do instructional videos or tutorials, we use OBS. It's completely open, and there are so many amazing plugins. Got a nice fun little jump there I forgot about. That's why I don't have the sound, because I'll get distracted with it. Ooh. I did some React stuff for some overlay just to put new effects on, and because, again, JavaScript is fun sometimes. I did quite a bit in Blender for 3D animations, because I also like to suffer. And Sprite, which is a pixel art application, to learn some pixel art and do some animations, like Little Meat jumping around. In other words, I've had reasons to learn things that I've been interested in, but never actually had a reason to use, and it's been a lot of fun. So that was a short level, nice and easy. Hopefully we don't need to get up and stretch. If you do, go ahead. I mean, I'm not looking for your boss. So let's talk about how accountability and productivity has improved, because I talk to myself. And it does. It has improved a lot. Okay. Help me become accountable. It's a psychological thing. When you tell others that you're going to do something, you're more likely to do it. It's not just for development, but if you make it known out there that, hey, I'm going to learn this thing, or I'm going to accomplish this, then you're more likely to get it done. There have been studies, I can't cite them, trust me, I've got a trustable face. Studies have happened. And somehow I find myself more productive on stream. Somehow. It happens. I think this goes back to taking the time to slow down instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. I write fewer lines of code. Fewer lines are getting committed, fewer lines are getting put out. But what I do is better quality because I'm taking the time to slow down. It's less, all right, I got this, I'm going to fix it later, and more, okay, I got this, it works, we can move on. And that's one, because I'm slowing down, two, because people like to correct you. If you're wrong, people love to correct you. And usually I'm thankful for it. Usually.
So you watch the chat the whole time there while you're...
Yeah. For the most part, there'd be times where I'll be like, all right, I want to figure something out on my own. I'm just going to ignore anybody typing right now. Don't give me an answer. I want to figure this out. And people will still be like, no, do this, follow this. No, you're clicking wrong. Nope, I'm not looking. Leave me alone. But then come back and be nice to them because I need attention. There's also the audience effect. I do have a citation for this thing. It's knowing or thinking that somebody's watching makes you want to do better. If you have an audience, you want to perform for them. If I were doing this in front of nobody right now, I'd probably be sitting in one of those chairs over there just and pretending. Or maybe even take one of the times I've done this talk before and just press play on it and sit in that chair. But I want to impress all of you. And I find that I'm more careful with what I say for the most part. I'm more careful with how I write code, and I'm definitely more careful about how many energy drinks I chug. So I've mentioned this a little bit. Learning new things is huge. Talking to myself has given me lots of reasons to try and learn new things. I went through a list of a bunch of things that most of them I had no reason to get into, but I was curious. And what really helps with that is, if people are watching, they will be helpful and call out mistakes. Or they'll offer help. I've learned so much just by people being like, no, you don't want to do this, or here's a resource to check out. Oh, here, if you want to learn about shaders, don't. But if you do, here's a cheat sheet that'll explain everything to you. But people are also likely to cause scope creep. If I'm working on a project, I want to make a prototype of something where ideas go to die, start with the sentence, hey, you know what would be cool? I actually have a scope creep award on my stream sometimes when somebody is like, oh, you need to add in, you need particles under the feet when he runs, and you need sound effects, and you need double jump and flips and all that. Like, no, scope creep, that's you today. It happens, and it happens to us in web dev. Does it? Anybody dealt with scope creep? Just making sure. And it's a loop. I believe that wherever you go, anywhere you're sitting, anywhere you're standing, there's going to be somebody who knows something you don't. You're going to know something that somebody else doesn't. So continuous learning happens all the time. I've met so many people who are smarter than me. I've met people who worked on games that I've played like more hours than I want to admit. I've met people who built tools that I use, and they're always willing to help. One thing that blew my mind, there is somebody, his name's Excelbro, and if you use OBS, if you use any plugins, he made it. That's probably a safe assumption. I was building out something, and in OBS, the text, if you center the alignment, it didn't work. He happened to be hanging out while I was building it, and he's like, oh, give me a second. Within 5 minutes, he had a PR up against OBS. Like, okay, as soon as they merge this in, it's fixed for you. I didn't ask him to do that. He just wants to help out, and amazing. So people want to help, and they want to teach too. I was even fortunate enough to be invited to do a stream takeover for the Godot engine. So Godot engine official said, hey, do you want to do 3 hours on a Friday using our name? Yes, I do. And went through a bunch of non-traditional things that were made with game engines, like one thing for making music, one thing for making images, something for making different types of materials. There's all kinds of other people who like to break stuff like I do. All right. Are you interested? Anybody want to try streaming for themselves or just wonder how the sausage is made?
Yeah.
See, I got little sausages there.
No.
Laugh, it's okay. All right, so according to a small-time streamer, me, it's simple to get started, it doesn't take much. What you need is download OBS. It's at obsproject.com. Open source, it's free, it's very powerful. You need an account where you want to stream. I stream on Twitch and YouTube. I tend to stay away from the other, I think there's only a couple others. Kick is the only one that comes to mind off the top of my head.
Waffle?
I'm sorry, didn't you?
Waffle?
I haven't even heard of that one, so. But maybe I'll check it out. You should probably set up some scenes in OBS, and if we have time, and if I can give a quick demo of how to do that. You press start, and you start talking. When I first started, I kind of went in with too much of a plan and almost had a PowerPoint presentation expecting people to just show up and want to see me. It's just like, so today we're going to be talking about, and then within about a week, I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to do stuff that I want to do, because that's what people want to see, is, see somebody enjoying themselves, not just trying to tell. Like, we can watch YouTube videos or, yeah.
Yeah, and I just wondering, does OBS automatically, when you're done streaming, does it make a video of it and upload it to YouTube or upload it to any of these?
Not automatically. However, if you stream on Twitch, it saves the VOD, video on demand, and then you can download that and you can upload it to YouTube if you want. I stream on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, and then at the end of the stream, since I'm going to YouTube, it will save it to YouTube as a video, provided I don't have any copyright infringing music on it. I took their training on copyright infringing music because I accidentally played something that had 30 seconds of a song, and they slapped my wrist. So I had to do sensitivity training for copyright infringing music. So a question that comes up a lot, that I've seen a lot, is, don't I need an expensive anything? No, you don't. The best mic, camera, whatever that you have, or that you need, is the one that you have. I've seen people spend way too much money before they even press start for the first time, before they've recorded anything, before they've done anything. They drop a couple grand into lighting, into cameras, into microphones, into soundboards. They don't even know if they're going to like it. All you need is a computer. Hell, if you want, you could use a phone and stream. I wouldn't recommend it if you're going to try to do development, because it's really tiny. But all you need is a computer, an internet connection. Everything comes with a webcam. Everything comes with a microphone. And then if you like it, then pay a little bit to improve it. Again, start with what you have. Don't buy new stuff. I've seen too many people go broke buying $500 microphones that sound exactly the same as the cheapest one that I have, and not continue after so long. All right, so I need to put an actual button here somewhere. There it is, bonus level. It's not really bonus level, it's just...
So, quick question.
Yeah.
If you press the start button, how do people know that you're broadcasting?
You tell people, the best way, I'm horrible at self-promotion, really, really bad at self-promotion, but when I first got started, I would put it out on Twitter, yes, Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, occasionally on LinkedIn if I was doing something specifically Drupal related. But it's also about building community. Before I press start for the first time, I would hang out in other streamers, in streamers chats, and talk with them. I wouldn't go in and just hey, look at me, I'm gonna do this. Everybody come over, look at me. Just having conversations and becoming part of the community. I got invited to be part of a stream team with some really amazing people, really smart people in development, DevRel, design, and all from hanging out in other people's communities. I also got invited to be part of an indie game developer stream team with, again, people who have worked on games that just blow my mind. Did that answer your question? Yeah, it's all about building community. Unless you have an established audience, never look at the view count. Even if you have an established audience, I never look at the view count because I just assume I'm going to talk the same way whether it's 1,000 people or 10 people. I've never seen 1,000 people, but I'd like to think that I'll talk the same way. So, you asked a question before I could get to it, but I like to leave quite a bit of time for questions, so this isn't really bonus level, it's more of a let's wrap it up. So are there any questions? Anything? Yeah.
Do you stream on a regular schedule?
I try to. The question was, do I stream on regular schedule? For the most part, yeah. I stream usually 6 days a week for a couple hours. After I get off work, I take some me time, and then I get on and start working on game development and streaming. When I'm traveling, I have the schedule, I just put it in vacation mode, and it won't alert anybody, and nobody will see that I'm supposed to be streaming at that time. But you can put a schedule on Twitch. I don't know about YouTube, maybe. But if you do stream consistently, then people will know what time you're going to be there. Any other questions? Yeah.
Slightly off topic. How often do you present in this format?
This is the first talk, I've done this talk a couple times, but this is the first talk that I've done in this format, and I'm trying to find a way to make it a lot more reproducible, because I really like it. When I first wrote this talk, my idea was, I don't care if anybody listens to what I say, I want them to say that was a really cool way of saying it. That was the entire goal.
That was a really cool way of saying it.
Yes! It happened! Yeah, but I thought about it. I want to get a better computer, a little bit more powerful with a graphics card. Macs are great, but not all that powerful. Because I think it would be really fun to have like a portable streaming setup to just to set up a camera back there or something like that. I'm not quite there yet, but someday. Yeah.
With 2 ears and 1 mouth, do you spend twice as much time listening to other people's streams as you do your own stream?
Actually, I find myself, even if I'm not actively hanging out in somebody's, or if I'm not actively chatting in somebody's stream, normally on one of my computers I will have a browser open with several tabs of people that I just want to be there to support. There are a lot of people that I want to learn things from, and there are people that I see. One of my friends has been working on a game, and I'm watching him suffer through Blender, like 5 months behind where I am. And so I'm like, I went through this exact problem. I want to be able to give you a hand here. And so it's really cool seeing that. And then there are other people that are just absolutely brilliant that I want to see what they're doing and keep an eye on it and see what I can learn from them. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of you talked just about this before, about running into like hardware issues. I imagine running like, I don't know, an IDE, Docker, all these other things on OBS can kind of take a strain on the hardware. You have to...
Yeah, it can. So there are some people who say, well, you need 2 computers to stream. You don't. Your computer should be beefy enough to handle quite a bit, but I think it's overkill to have a dedicated workstation and a dedicated computer that's just running OBS that you have plugged in. A friend of mine who actually talked at Twin City Drupal Camp last year, he does a lot of OBS plugins, so there's a lot of C# or C compiling, which takes a lot of resources. So he's one of the few people who really needs a second computer to run. But I found the biggest hang up for me is using browser extensions in OBS, which are basically running Chromium tabs within OBS to have different effects. And the more you have, the slower everything goes. So I've had to clean that up.
Chrome uses up a lot of RAM or something?
But again, use what you have. See what works. Don't go out and buy a big-ass gaming PC just to potentially stream. Other questions? Yeah.
How do you manage, like, putting too much personal information out there while you're shooting?
Being really quick to recognize when you do, hitting stop, deleting the VOD, and then coming back very soon. I've done it a couple times on accident, and it's just like, oh crap, I just showed a piece of mail on accident, or I just opened up a page that auto-filled everything about me, and I'll immediately stop the video, go delete the VOD, the video on demand, so that nobody can get it, and come back a couple minutes later and just go, I messed up. I also have, I don't have it on this computer, but a really cool effect where if I'm doing anything that could potentially have any personal data, I put a filter on over my window screen that blurs it all out in some really cool looking hexagons or triangles, so it's very difficult to see. But sometimes I forget and put my social security number and my mother's maiden name and my favorite pet and my home address.
All your security questions.
I just keep them on a tab. I don't know why. Maybe I should close that window sometime.
I close that notepad.
Did you do your job search streaming or?
No, actually, but I did have some leads and some freelance while I was looking for work. It was small things like I actually designed a couple of 3D models for somebody doing a game. They're really crappy, but they wanted to pay me, so I took it. Had some people just ask me for some very generic help, and they tend to send me a tip or subscribe. I don't make a lot of money doing it. I think my last Twitch check was maybe $200-300. When I was off work and doing it 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, it would be closer to $500-600. But that was hourly. I was making way below minimum wage. If you want to look at it that way, don't look at it that way. It's just depressing. Don't do it if you think it's going to be your livelihood. You're wrong. Because even people who do it and have several thousand followers, several hundred people at a time, they still don't make enough to live off of just by streaming.
Did you stream the creation of this presentation?
Yeah, a lot of people were really excited to see it, and everybody thought it was such a cool idea, and I just wanted to do something different because PowerPoint presentations are boring. I mean, the subject matter may be exciting, but there's only so many star wipes you can do. All right, so I'd like to give credit where credit's due. If there aren't any more questions, sorry. Yeah.
On some of those levels, there was a guy. Can you kill those guys?
No, I didn't put that in because I think it would be really, really upsetting if I were to die like on slide 35 of 37 and then have to go all the way to the beginning. I did consider it though. I think that you can write him though. The little spiny guy.
Just put in some checkpoints.
No, I'm not going to go all the way back again. But yeah, I have it so you can write them. I have another version of this that I've been working on that adds in some ladders, so it's not quite as lateral. Haven't finished it yet. So I
Add
used
menu so you can jump around.
Hmm?
You need to add menu. Start button, menu comes up, you put up the slideshow.
So I use Godot Game Engine, which open source, really great community. The main reason I went with it is open source and the community. I started learning game development around the time. Does anybody know about the Unity fiasco that happened about a year ago? Yeah. So if you don't know, Unity, closed source proprietary software, they decided that they were going to put in a licensing fee based on the number of downloads that a game had on top of the Steam fee or itch fee or whatever fee. And so a lot of developers, especially indie developers, are like, you're taking 50% of my money when it comes to after Steam and everything, and nobody wanted to do it. So everybody was just jumping ship. And Godot, open source, like, we don't take anything. Come on in, water smart. And Humble Bundle had a really good bundle for Learning Vito because they're great at marketing and they're like, hey, if Unity's going to mess up, let's capitalize on this. And I bought it and I just absolutely loved it. All the tiles are made by somebody named Kenny, who is also known as Asset Jesus, because they make all kinds of free assets that are CC0, which, if you don't know, means you can do whatever the hell you want with it. And I paid for them to support the creator. There's an all-in-one pack. It's like $20 to get everything at one time. But it was well worth it. All kinds of 3D assets and all these tiles that I have here. I did the character design. Basically, I took a picture of me and said, make it cuter. And I put all the levels in. So, thanks for coming. Now, the template that I use for the slides does have this little thing for credit. But if there are any questions, let me know. Don't forget to sign up for our raffle for the Hero Devs for the Optimus Prime, and then again, give it to me when you win. Any questions before I press the button?
Don't do it.
What's your social security number?
I forgot that I put the boundary there, so you can't die. All right then.